Chapter 6, Dragons of the Bible. If Tiamat lurks perdu in the Hebrew conception of the great deep of Genesis 1-2, we might fairly expect that it would sometimes emerge into consciousness in the later literature of that people. And so we find it does. It is an interesting study to trace the survival of this semi-mythological personification of the deep as a dragon in the various books of the Bible. Its curious persistence proves how strong an impression the Babylonian legend had made on the Hebrew mind. Professor Gunkel has drawn attention to the subject in a very ingenious and suggestive book, and Professor Shen has given a general acceptance to his conclusions. Let us glance at some of the references which they supply. In Ezekiel, Pharaoh is compared to the great dragon, Tannim, that leath in the midst of his rivers. And again, thou art as a dragon in the seas. Isaiah says, in that day, Jehovah will punish Leviathan, the winding serpent, and he shall slay the dragon, Tannin, that is in the sea. And similarly, the psalmist, thou breakest the heads of the dragons, Tannimin, the sea monsters, in the waters. This sea dragon is frequently referred to under the title of Rahab, the violent, or the raging one, and always with something of the same mythological significance. It is the Assyrian Rahabu, a sea monster, and sometimes it is identified with the crocodile of Egypt. Thus, Job says, he stirreth up the sea with his power, and by his understanding he smiteth through Rahab, the dragon. His hand hath pierced the gliding serpent. And again, the helpers of Rahab, the rebellious sea monster, stoop under him, with which we may compare a difficult passage in the Psalms. Blessed is the man that looketh not to the Rahabim, and to lying apostates. In Isaiah we find Rahab, Tannin, and Tihom brought together in one verse. Art thou not it that cut Rahab in pieces, that pierced the dragon, Tannin? Art not thou in which dried up the waters of the great deep, Tihom? A passage earlier than these in the prophecy of Amos makes mention of a huge serpent at the bottom of the sea, ready to devour God's enemies. Though they hid themselves from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. It is a widespread belief. The Muslims have a tradition that the tannin or waterspout lives in the depths of the sea, from which it comes up at times in the form of a black serpent. Robertson Smith holds that the Leviathan, the twisting monster, was likewise a personification of the waterspout. Behemoth, as well as Rahab and Leviathan, is probably only another phase of the same monster of the deep, the chaos dragon, which the Creator subdued in the world's infancy and banished to the profundity of the ocean. It is difficult not to see here also the germ of the sea serpent legend, which has exhibited such wonderful vitality till this day. Whether the Chinese dragon Lung, that which ascends, is also a descendant of Tiamat is more doubtful, though the prehistoric connection between the Chinese and the Akkadians, which M. Della Coperi and Mr. Ball have traced, at least renders it possible. Hiding in the depths all the winter, it mounts into the sky at the vernal equinox, and from the radical idea of rising which belongs to it, and so of loftiness and preeminence, it has become the well-known symbol of imperial power, which plays such an important part in Chinese ceremonial.